In this segment, we're going to talk about what you might have seen playing around with the Write with Transformer demo. So hopefully you enjoyed it. I think it's a very cool demo. Here's what happened when I plugged some stuff in. So the first thing we're going to look at is I tried some examples about New York, trying to see whether it knows stuff about this specific city. So I typed in, I liked visiting New York and wanted to see blank. And so it first completed it for myself in, and then here are the completions that we see after that. In this time period, New York City was an international center for travel. Okay, it's like a little bit weird, but like that's also probably true, right? New York's a big city. It's it's sort of a center. And you can see some other completions here that also kind of sort of make sense, but are also sort of weird. Here's another one I tried. I liked visiting New York and wanted to see one of the biggest tourist sites, So this is a little bit like the capital of Nebraska example in that I'm sort of testing the model to see what it thinks the biggest tourist sites are. And here it gives us some interesting stuff. So the first completion it suggests is Manhattan. Now, I don't know if Manhattan is a tourist site specifically, but it's definitely something in New York, particular to New York. And so the model is clearly doing something with this context, right? I mean, it knows that we're talking about New York. Central might be thinking about Central Park. I didn't actually try this one. So I think this kind of shows that the model has some idea of what's going on with these entities. And so I tried it with some sports celebrities as well. Steph Curry is one of the best players at, and then I tab completed shooting. And then after that, the model said free throws, 3-pointers, and he has hit 40. Threes, and one of the best in the league at shooting jumpers. So again, the model clearly has seen some information about Steph Curry before, and it's doing something reasonable here. Tiger Woods is one of the greatest golfers, blah, blah, blah. A lot of these contexts talk about golfing and even specific things like the Ryder Cup. Okay, so I think these examples are super cool, and it seems like the model kind of knows a lot of stuff about the world, right? But you can also find some contexts where it does really goofy stuff. And so I want to emphasize that this model is just kind of memorizing a whole bunch of stuff that it's seen on the web. It was trained on a whole bunch of data, just scraped from wherever the developers of this could get text data, but it doesn't always know things about how the world works. So for example, at the airport, usually the only thing I have time to do is see if I'm gonna get my mail or what. It just makes no sense. Ask people their age and gender. I mean, this is just not, this is pretty weird. Not something that I normally do at the airport. So we're seeing that the model isn't totally reasonable in all of these cases. At the mall, usually the only thing I have time to do is eat lunch. And some of these completions, again, are a little bit weird. Again, at the grocery store, usually the only thing I have time to do is eat. You can eat at the grocery store, I guess. And then some of these are reasonable, right? Pick up some veggies, blah, blah, blah. So the model's kind of hit and miss. Sometimes it does these what seem like amazingly brilliant things. And sometimes that might be because it's seen something very similar before, and it's basically memorized something that someone else wrote about these topics. We don't really know what it's doing, and it's very hard to figure it out. And then sometimes it just does these completely silly or weird continuations. So I think it's a very exciting piece of technology, and we're going to talk a little bit about what these models enable us to do. It certainly isn't self-aware or sentient or anything like that. It's not an AI, it's not Terminator that's going to come and take over the world, but it's a cool piece of technology. That's the end of this segment.